When does caring become controlling? When does love turn into obsession? And how do you know when someone's inability to let go has become dangerous? In May 2023, a university campus in India became the site of a preventable tragedy. A young woman had tried to escape. She had asked for help, she had spoken up, but the warning signs were ignored. This is the story of what happens when no isn't accepted as an answer. Sneha Chaurasia was a university student. She was in her early 20s, studying at Shiv Nadar University in Greater Noida. Like most students her age, she was focused on her education, her future, her independence. Anuj Singh was her classmate. At some point, they became involved, but when Neha decided the relationship wasn't working, Anuj couldn't accept it. And that's where everything started to unravel. Because in healthy relationships, when one person says it's over, the other person respects that. They move on, they heal. But for Anuj, rejection didn't mean the end. It meant escalation. To understand what happened, we need to talk about obsession. Not the kind of obsession you see in movies, the real kind, the dangerous kind. Psychologists called it obsessive relational intrusion. It's when someone refuses to respect boundaries, when they can't let go, when they start to believe that control is the same thing as love. And here's the critical part: rejection becomes unbearable to them. According to reports that surfaced after Sneha's death, she had tried to end things. She explained her reasons. She had conversations with Anuj. She set boundaries, but he wouldn't accept the breakup. This is the first major warning sign. When someone cannot accept no, it's not about feelings anymore, it's about power. 2 months before she was killed, in March 2023, Sneha did something incredibly brave. She sent an email to university authorities. In that email, she described a pattern of violence. She wrote that Anuj had physically hurt her, that there were scars on her body. She mentioned an incident where he choked her until she lost consciousness. Let's pause there. Choking is one of the strongest predictors of future lethal violence in abusive relationships. It's not just aggression, it's a signal that someone is willing to take your life. Sneha also wrote that she was having panic attacks, that her mental health was suffering, and that Anuj had given her a death threat, a direct death threat. She was terrified. But here's what makes this even more tragic. She didn't want to file a formal complaint. She was afraid of how Anuj would react. She was afraid of how her own family might respond. So she asked the university for one thing: keep him away from me. This is something we see again and again in cases like this. Victims are caught between the danger in front of them and the fear of social consequences. Shame, blame, retaliation. So they ask for help quietly. They hope it's enough. The university reportedly placed a restraining order on both students. They offered counseling, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Restraining orders and campus policies can't fix deeply rooted psychological dysfunction, especially when there's no formal legal intervention, especially when the obsessed individual feels they are losing control. Because that's when they escalate, and Anuj escalated. Before the shooting, he recorded a video, 23 minutes long. He sent it to his classmates. In it, he talked about his version of the relationship. He mentioned other people by name. He was creating a narrative, justifying for what he was about to do. In threat assessment, this is called leakage. It's when someone signals their intent before they act. Sometimes it's a cry for help, sometimes it's a warning, but it's always a red flag. This wasn't a sudden snap. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was slow, visible escalation that no one was able to stop. On May 18, 2023, inside University Dining Hall, Anuj Singh shot Sneha Chaurasia. Moments later, he turned the gun on himself. Both died at the scene. This was the final, irreversible result of months of warning signs, of boundaries crossed, of threats ignored. Tragedies like this are almost never sudden. They build, they escalate, and they leave behind devastated families, traumatized communities, and questions that can never be fully answered. After the tragedy, police filed an FIR. It named not just Anuj but also the university and several individuals mentioned in his video. Sneha's father spoke publicly about his grief. He said that if the university had acted sooner or informed the family when Sneha first complained, his daughter might still be alive. He also asked a critical question: how was a student able to bring a firearm onto campus? These are important institutional questions. But beyond policy, beyond blame, this case gives us something we desperately need: a clear map of the warning signs. So let's talk about them. If you or someone you know is in a relationship where these things are happening, please pay attention. If someone keeps pushing, arguing, refusing to let go, that's not love, that's control. Constant messages, showing up uninvited, monitoring who you talk to, where you go, direct or implied, to hurt you, themselves, or others. All threats must be taken seriously, especially choking, grabbing, restraining. These are not arguments, these are assaults. Cutting you off from friends, family, support systems. If saying no triggers rage, threats, or emotional breakdowns, that person is not emotionally safe. If you are experiencing any of this, here's what you can do. Document everything: text, emails, incidents. Tell people you trust. Don't stay silent. File formal complaints, not just with schools or workplaces, but with police. Institutions can help, but legal records create real accountability. And if you are in immediate danger, reach out to domestic violence or mental health crisis helplines. You are not alone, and you're not responsible for someone else's inability to let go. Sneha Chaurasia's life mattered, her voice mattered, and the warnings she gave us matter. Obsession is not love, possessiveness is not care. And when someone shows you they cannot respect your boundaries, believe them and act. This tragedy didn't have to happen, and the next one doesn't have to happen either. So here's my question for you. Have you ever seen controlling behavior in a relationship and not known what to do? What do you think needs to change in schools and families and how we talk about relationships to prevent cases like this? Let me know in the comments. And if this video made you think, please share it. Awareness can save lives.